I knew something was off the second I walked into the sitting room and saw Karen already there, perched on the edge of the cream leather chair like she'd been waiting. Mrs. McCreary barely looked up from her tablet. Mr. McCreary gave me a forced smile that didn't touch his eyes. "Dana, we appreciate you coming down," he said. They always called me by name when something was about to go sideways. I sat, straight-backed, neutral face. 7 years in that house, and I still wasn't family, just staff, just help. I waited. "We've been doing a lot of thinking," Mrs. McCreary started, scrolling absently. "And after talking with Karen nodded slightly, fake pleasant, eyes locked on me like she was daring me to blink. "We've decided to restructure the household dynamic. The kids are shifting into a more holistic model. Less scheduling, more flow. Unschooling, rhythm-based parenting." It was the kind of crap I'd heard parents spout in LA when they'd given up actually parenting. "So we're making some changes," Mr. McCreary added, trying to sound firm. "Effective today, we're going to let you go." Just like that. No warning, no 2 weeks, no conversation about transition plans. I wasn't even shocked, just tired. Before we go on, share which city or country you're watching from. I looked at the kids' framed photos on the wall. I'd potty trained their youngest, held their oldest through 3 years of panic attacks. But apparently, a parenting coach with an online certificate and a Pinterest board had better ideas. "We'll need everything compiled," Mrs. McCreary said, already moving to logistics. "The food schedule, contact sheets, specialists, behavioral routines. Just everything you've built." "Of course," I said. My voice didn't crack. I didn't ask for a minute. I didn't ask why. Karen smiled wider, like she'd won something. I got up, went upstairs, and gathered my files. All backed up, all professional. Then I uploaded the master folder to their server, labeled McCreary Kids Protocol. On the last page, a plain footer, gray text, clickable. www.danariverschildstrategies.com. They wouldn't notice it at first, but someone would click eventually. No one followed me out, no goodbye from the kids, not even a thank you. I walked down the marble driveway with my tote bag, past the black gate that used to open automatically when I came home from school runs. This time, I pressed the button myself. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. The front door clicked shut behind me, and for the first time in years, I didn't have to be quiet for nap time or check the clock for school pickup. Just me, a dead quiet hallway, and my secondhand apartment that smelled faintly of lemon cleaner and drywall. I dropped my tote on the kitchen counter, kicked off my shoes, and opened the laptop. The site was live, www.danariverschildstrategies.com. Clean layout, calm colors, nothing showy. Just straight talk, developmental structure, behavioral consulting, parental routine training. I'd written every word myself, then paid a freelance branding consultant off Upwork to make it look expensive. It did. LLC was filed 3 weeks earlier. Business banking set up. Online scheduler linked. Stripe integration locked and tested. I wasn't winging it. I'd been prepping for this since the McCrearys brought Karen in. I refreshed the homepage. One view. I clicked into the analytics dashboard. Familiar IP, not the McCrearys, but from the same school district, definitely one of the private academies. I knew their network blocks like the back of my hand. Could have been the Petersons. Maybe that anxious mom from the twins' classroom. Didn't matter. Someone clicked. That little footer I embedded on the last page of the routine protocols file, just 8 words. For ongoing developmental consulting, visit this link. Soft font, gray text. Easy to overlook, unless you were desperate for help and had no clue how to hold it all together without me. I wasn't playing dirty. I was just done being a silent fixture. The site pinged again, a calendar preview request. I clicked over. Same IP, not just curiosity. Someone was sniffing around. Quick note. Before we start, how's your day going and where are you joining from? I opened my booking dashboard and watched the timer roll. 5 minutes later, an inquiry dropped. First name, Travis. Last name, Linton request, one-on-one consultation. Notes, need help navigating school behavior shifts and bedtime resistance. Recently divorced. Daughter is 6, referral from Hamilton primary staff. I remembered the name. Tall guy, slick car. Used to pick his daughter up early from aftercare on Fridays. We'd chatted once. He asked how I kept the McCreary kids from melting down at drop-off. Apparently, I made an impression. I clicked accept, opened my calendar, and started blocking time. Monday afternoons, Thursday mornings, 2-hour blocks only. Then I went to the kitchen, grabbed a clean wine glass, and filled it halfway with that cheap Cabernet I'd been saving for a moment. This was the moment. I wasn't hired help anymore. I was running my own damn schedule. My name, my rules. By 9 o'clock, another inquiry hit. Different school, different parent, just a short message. Found your site. Wondering if you help with gifted kids and sibling rivalry? I updated my availability settings. Marked weekends as off limits unless pre-approved. Added a waitlist option, made sure the intake form included a firm checkbox. I agree to all posted rates and policies. No more favors, no more midnight texts about missing lunchboxes or meltdowns over screen time. If they wanted my help, they'd pay for it, and they would. By Tuesday morning, I'd locked in 3 new consultations. My calendar was turning blue with booked hours, and the intake forms were getting longer, more desperate, more detail-heavy. Parents were already flailing, and it had barely been a week. Then I got the first text from Megan, one of the speech therapists I used to coordinate with at Hamilton. Just heard you left the McCreary's. Total mess now. Miss your structure. Hope you're doing okay. I didn't reply right away, just bookmarked her number under professional referrals. 10 minutes later, a missed call from Hamilton's school counselor. No IEP file submitted for Liam McCreary, her voicemail said. Did you handle that last year? They missed the deadline. Yes, I always handled that, every year. I even sent reminders 2 weeks out. Now, I let the call sit. Back in their house, I knew exactly what was happening. Mrs. McCreary would have tried to wing it, then tossed it to Karen once she realized the IEP wasn't optional. And Karen? She probably handed them a mindfulness journal and told them to set intentions. Meanwhile, Liam's attention plan would lapse, and the school wouldn't legally be on the hook for his accommodations, which meant chaos. At noon, I got another booking. Former client from 5 years ago. A couple in Brentwood I'd worked with when their toddler had food anxiety. Their kid was now 8. Looking for support navigating social friction and emotional regulation. I clicked accept, added them to the intake call list, kept it moving. Before we keep going, drop where you're watching from in the comments. Another ping. This one from a math tutor I used to schedule for the McCreary kids. Saw you launched your own thing. Congrats. The kids have been slipping. Not the same since you left. I miss your charts. I smiled a little. Not smug, just satisfied. And then came the night terror. Not mine. Theirs. I didn't need a security cam to know how it went. The youngest, Isla, always had vivid dreams when her routine got knocked out. I used to prep her every night. Same lullaby, same lavender diffuser, same sentence. You're safe. I'll see you in the morning. Now, she probably got handed a screen-free bedtime playlist and a cold cup of chamomile tea. I could practically hear her screams through the walls. I wasn't in anymore. Karen, of course, doubled down. Green smoothies at breakfast. No screens during transitions. Family eye contact time after school. I heard it all secondhand. A friend of the housekeeper passed it along. It wasn't sticking. Of course it wasn't. These weren't Pinterest kids. They needed structure, not vibes. My email chimed again. Someone from Pacific Ridge Academy, a new parent, looking for help with a blended family situation. Referral, school psychologist. I hadn't even worked with them yet. I opened my scheduling system and blocked off Friday afternoons going forward. Then I added a section to my website. Currently booked through next month. Waitlist available. A couple hours later, another old colleague from Hamilton pinged me. If you ever want to build a team, let me know. You ran the cleanest routines I've ever seen. I left it unread for now. Not because I wasn't interested, because I wasn't in a rush. Everything was falling apart exactly the way it always does when the scaffolding gets yanked and no one knows how it was holding things up to begin with. I didn't need revenge. I had demand. Wednesday afternoon, I wrapped my 4th Zoom consult of the day and muted my phone. I had 23 unread emails, 6 new intake forms, and 3 voicemails blinking. One from a family I'd never worked with, saying their pediatrician mentioned my name. Another from a private school therapist asking for availability next week. I didn't rush. I grabbed my notes, pulled up a new intake, and clicked Start Session. A woman appeared on screen, camera too close, voice already anxious. Hi, I'm Nina. Sorry, I know this is short notice. My boys are at each other's throats every day, and I'm pregnant again, and I'm not sleeping, and... She laughed nervously. I was told you're good with sibling stuff. Okay, I said, nodding. Tell me how mornings start in your house. She blinked. Like, today? Today. Walk me through it. She did. By the end of that hour, I had her swapping roles between the older boys, adding structured choices to limit power struggles, and implementing a visual schedule by breakfast tomorrow. Basic stuff, but powerful when you actually commit to it. She wiped her eyes at the end and whispered, "I already feel better." That was the real difference. I didn't just give parents peace, I made their homes work. Quick pause. While you're listening, drop where you're watching from in the comments. I signed off, logged notes, then checked my voicemail. The third message caught me off guard. "Hi, Dana. This is Kelsey from Hamilton Prep. I know you're consulting now, and I'm wondering if you'd be open to helping with a situation involving one of our newer families. It's a behavioral concern, totally unrelated to your previous role. Let me know." She said it like a disclaimer, like she knew the McCrearys still walked around pretending they'd made a clean transition. I called her back that evening. "Details?" I asked. "It's a 6-year-old girl. She's shutting down in class, refusing to speak to the teacher. We tried the in-house counselor, but it's not landing." "What have they tried so far?" Kelsey sighed. "Mindfulness apps, deep breathing, that kind of stuff." "Same crap Karen peddled." I said, "Loop me in for a virtual observation. I'll watch quietly. You'll get notes by Monday." "Great. And Dana?" "Yeah? I've got to say, this place hasn't run the same since you left." I didn't respond. Just wrote the session time in my planner. The same week, a private parent event kicked off at a wine bar in Brentwood. The McCrearys went, of course. They had to keep up appearances, even if everything inside their house was cracking. Another mom brought up a consultant she'd hired. "She completely reset our evenings," the woman said, swirling her drink. "Got my oldest to sleep through the night again. Just Zoom sessions. So simple." "What's her name?" someone asked. The mom pulled out her phone. "Dana Rivers. You should see her process. My husband actually cried." The McCrearys froze. It took them a second, but it clicked. They didn't say anything. They just stood there, holding their glasses, pretending they weren't the reason I'd built my own damn name in the first place. I wasn't their nanny anymore. I was the one people whispered about like a secret weapon. Later that night, I got a one-line email. Subject: referral inquiry message. "You helped a friend of mine recently, hoping we can schedule time." No names. But the address was from the same elite circle, Pacific Ridge again. I sent the intake link. No small talk, no memory lane. My terms were upfront, my voice steady, my boundaries locked. I didn't need their gratitude. I had bookings. 2 days later, my phone lit up with a notification from Hamilton Prep's faculty chat. A contact of mine, first grade teacher, had posted, "McCreary kid sent home again, 3rd time this month." I didn't even have to ask which one. Liam. The only one who ever needed a 10-minute emotional rundown before group work. He'd throw chairs if he felt cornered. Used to, anyway. I had a routine that worked. That tantrum wouldn't have happened on my watch. Karen's tools: organic smoothies and silent journaling. Real tactical. The teacher added, "They're blaming food dyes." It was a math quiz. Of course they were. I opened my notes app and typed, "Outbursts tied to academic transitions. Prepping still critical." I didn't plan to share it, but I wanted it documented. Another brick in the wall they thought they didn't need. Next morning, a mom I'd worked with months ago sent me a quick text. "Just saw McCrearys arguing at pickup. Full volume. Thought you'd appreciate I didn't reply." Just pictured it. Mr. McCreary snapping over some missed form. Mrs. McCreary saying it wasn't her job, both forgetting there were 20 other parents within earshot. Their polish was cracking. You could hear it. Before we continue, drop your city in the comments. I want to know where you're watching from. Later that week, I got a quiet ping from an old school aide. She'd overheard the McCreary's oldest talking to her homeroom teacher. "We want Dana back," the girl said. "She made things work. Didn't need to be loud to land." By Thursday night, I was deep in notes for another client. Twins with ADHD, parents completely underwater. When I got a LinkedIn message. Polished profile. Husband and wife team. Hedge fund crowd. We were referred by Ms. Landry, the art teacher at Hamilton. She mentioned you've helped families similar to ours. I stared at the message for a full minute. Didn't click it, didn't open it, just let it sit there, blinking. I didn't owe anyone speed anymore. My schedule was mine. My response time, optional. Instead, I grabbed my dry erase marker and walked to the whiteboard by my desk, wiped the top line and rewrote it. Waitlist policy, 2 weeks minimum. Full payment required to reserve. Below that, I added, current clients, bookings closed through next month. No discounts, no exceptions, no bending. People had spent years acting like what I did was just help, like I was lucky to be in those homes. Now they were lining up for my systems, the ones I used to deliver in silence, like they belonged to the family instead of me. I left the LinkedIn message unopened for 4 days. Control wasn't about saying no, it was about not rushing to say yes. The email hit my inbox at 6:42 a.m. Subject line, Family Support Inquiry. I didn't even have to open it to know who it was from. Hi, Dana, it began. We're currently navigating a bit of a transition with the kids. Wondering if you'd consider a short-term support engagement to help us reestablish some structure. Signed, warmly, Meredith McCreary. Warmly. That word made me smirk into my coffee. No apology, no mention of how they tossed me like a used spreadsheet. Just that tone. Soft, careful, thin ice under every sentence. I let it sit for an hour. Then I pulled up the polished PDF I'd had designed for moments exactly like this. Rate card, services breakdown, scope of engagement, no fluff, $400 per hour, 10-hour minimum package. No overnight care, scope, behavioral reset plus routine restoration. I attached it. One-line reply, please review my consulting structure attached. If the terms work, I'll hold availability on Tuesdays and Fridays for observation. Sent. Didn't add a smiley. Didn't add a name, just business. At 8:03 a.m., Mr. McCreary replied, thanks, Dana. That rate is higher than we expected. Could we possibly discuss scope a bit? That rate had once covered my entire week. Now it bought them a few hours of access. I didn't answer. I logged into my booking system and blocked out Tuesdays and Fridays anyway. 2 sessions per day, reserved, just in case. By 9:20, payment cleared. 12 hours. That's how long it took them to cave. Before we go on, let me know where you're watching from today. Curious who's listening in? At 10:02, their assistant sent a Google Calendar invite. Session 1, Family Observation. Location, McCreary Residence. No one said, welcome back. No one said, thank you. Didn't matter. This wasn't a reunion. This was a transaction. I opened a new client folder, labeled it McCreary-Phase 2, and filled in the fields like I would with any other case. Behavioral objectives, TBD parent compliance. Risk, high children's stability. Window, narrow consulting scope. Strict. Then I closed the tab and went for a walk. Just a mile loop around my neighborhood. Cracked sidewalks, barking dogs, no Teslas in sight. It reminded me I'd built this from nothing, on purpose, alone. Back at my desk, I updated my checklist. Boundaries sent. Terms accepted. Payment received. Session. Scheduled. The folder was clean. No emotion in the notes. No mention of the past. Just metrics. But I knew what was coming. They didn't want structure. They wanted me. They just didn't want to admit it. And they'd have to follow my process now, not the other way around. I pulled into the circular driveway at exactly 9 a.m. Parked like a contractor, not a guest. Didn't wait for the gate to open. Just buzzed, stated my name, and walked up with my clipboard and tablet like I was there to inspect insulation. The door opened before I knocked. Mrs. McCreary stood there, hair curled, smile tight. Dana, it's good to see you, she said like we were two moms catching up at a fundraiser. I nodded. Let's start in the kitchen. No small talk, no catch up, just work. The kids were in their usual spots. Isla slumped at the breakfast counter, cereal untouched. Liam was pacing near the sliding glass door, already showing signs of overstimulation. Their oldest sat with a tablet hidden under the table, fingers twitching like she was afraid someone might yank it away. Karen was nowhere in sight. Smart move. Mr. McCreary appeared in a button-down and gym shorts, trying too hard to look relaxed. Dana, he said, too cheerful. Thanks for coming. We're hoping this is, collaborative. This is observational, I said. I won't be interacting directly with the kids today. He cleared his throat and stepped back. Before we continue, let me know in the comments what city you're watching from. I set up at the end of the island, opened my tablet, and started logging data. 8:57. Child 2. Pacing increases when exposed to sudden stimuli. Sibling raised voice. 09:14. Parent prompts ineffective. Repetition without variation. 9:42. Child 1 shows signs of social withdrawal. Mrs. McCreary hovered. I think we've tried too many changes at once, she offered. I didn't respond. We really thought Meredith, I said, eyes still on the screen. This isn't a discussion. This is a session. She froze, then stepped away. For 3 hours, I watched. No hugging, no smiling, no how's school. Just data collection, timing patterns, identifying triggers, scanning for gaps in the morning structure. The kids didn't even look at me. They weren't sure who I was anymore. That was fine. I asked 5 questions total. Director, clinical. To Liam, what happens when you don't want to do something? To Isla, what makes you feel safe at bedtime? To both parents, who manages the transition from screen time to tasks? The answers were scattered, half guesses. Karen had clearly been winging it. At noon sharp, I closed the tablet. I'll send a report by end of day. That was it. I walked out without looking back, just like I had before. But this time, I wasn't leaving anything behind. Back at my desk, I opened the report template. Client, McCreary Family Session. Type, Observational Behavioral Review. Consultant, Dana Rivers. Then line by line, I tore their household to shreds. No blame, no fluff, just facts. Routine gaps identified. 5 behavioral escalation risks. 3 parent compliance barriers. Inconsistent execution, unclear roles, recommended protocol. Reset, immediate no, thank you section, no encouragement. That weekend, a teacher at Hamilton emailed me. Whatever you're doing, it's working. Kids came in calmer, more focused. We were all shocked. Word started spreading. I wasn't back. I wasn't their nanny. I was the system they thought they could replace. And now, they had to pay for access. I got the text from a Hamilton faculty member just before lunch. McCreary kids no-showed for the regional academic competition. Total chaos. It was on the calendar. You set it up last spring, right? I had. March 15th, flagged with 3 reminders in the old scheduling system. I even coordinated with their math tutor months ago. Karen had wiped it all clean when she took over. Said they were overscheduled. That screw-up? It wasn't just missed medals, it was missed visibility. That event mattered for admissions, scholarships, press. No one publicly blamed Karen, but by Monday, she was gone. Not a goodbye, not a mention. Just vanished from the schedule. Her Instagram went private the same day. I didn't need confirmation. At 6:17 p.m., I got an email from Mrs. McCreary. Subject, next steps. Hi, Dana. We've been reevaluating our overall household needs. You've been a tremendous help during this transition, and I was wondering if you might consider a more permanent arrangement. Possibly full-time? I stared at the screen, took a sip of coffee, and typed back one sentence. I no longer do full-time domestic roles. Sent. No apology, no wiggle room, just truth. Before we go further, drop a comment with where you're tuning in from. 5 minutes later, she responded. Understood. Thank you for your clarity. She knew the game was up. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The power shift was already done. By Wednesday, I'd gotten 3 more inquiries, all from high net worth couples, all referrals, no fluff. One woman wrote, I heard you're the reason Hamilton's neurodivergent students are functioning again. Any chance you're taking new clients? I updated my homepage that night. Bold font, front and center. Currently fully booked, waitlist only. Then I opened my calendar and added buffer blocks around every session. I wasn't filling every gap to squeeze in extra hours. I was building space, on purpose. Thursday afternoon, I got an unexpected call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it ring twice, then answered. Hi, Dana. This is Shelley Kramer, director at Highfield Academy. We've been following your work. Several of our parents are raving about your strategies. We'd love to discuss the possibility of a parent training series. Curriculum scope? I asked. Totally up to you, she said. We'd like you to lead it. Design, delivery, everything. It's long overdue. I opened a new folder on my desktop. Highfield Parent Series. Let's schedule a strategy call next week, I said. I'll send over my rate sheet and availability. Perfect. You come highly recommended. I hung up and leaned back. I wasn't care staff anymore. I was the expert, the one they used to ignore. Now they were asking me to teach them how to survive their own homes. I pulled up my task board and added a new column. Curriculum design, fall series under it, 3 bullet points. Emotional regulation for early childhood. Executive functioning for parents, routine implementation with follow-through my rates, my content, my terms. They didn't just want help now, they wanted the system I built, and this time, it came with a price. The booking came through on a Sunday. No message, just the name, J. Monroe. Generic enough. But I recognized it. Jacqueline Monroe, old school, Bel Air wealth, 3 nannies in rotation back when I met her at a Hamilton fundraiser. She'd given me a once-over like I was the waiter, then turned to Mrs. McCreary and said, I could never survive with just help. I need staff who actually manage. I hit join right on the hour. She popped up on screen, hair messy, no makeup. That strained smile rich moms give when they're pretending not to drown. Dana, she said, too sweet. Thanks for squeezing me in. I've heard things. All good, of course. I gave a polite nod. What's the situation? Our nanny left last week. No notice. The kids are completely off routine. My daughter's refusing to eat, and my son, well, he locked himself in the laundry room this morning. What have you tried so far? She hesitated. We've been improvising. No structure, no plan, just panic. She leaned forward, voice softening. You know, it's funny seeing you like this. You've really built something. I always thought you had potential, even back then. I kept my tone flat. This is a consulting session. What outcomes are you looking for? Quick note, before we finish, tell me where you're watching from today. She blinked, caught off guard, then laughed too loudly. Of course, yes, consulting. I guess what I'm wondering is, she hesitated, is there any way you'd consider working with us? I didn't flinch. If you mean consulting, I said, I have 2 windows open next month, Thursday mornings and Monday at 3 p.m. Her smile dropped a little. Right, consulting. I ended the call 5 minutes later. No recap, no emotion. Just my calendar, back in my control. I opened my scheduling app, blocked the Thursday slot, and refreshed my inbox. A new request was sitting there. Subject, inquiry from referral@clientservices.com. Message, referred by McCreary family. Looking to address school transitions and sibling rivalry. I didn't even hesitate. Clicked accept. Then I leaned back, sipped the tea that had gone cold, and closed my laptop.